I think one of the things is no one have a right answer, like a CEO or any function for that matter, as to what works well, what doesn't. And I think one of the things that 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 really HR practitioners across the globe are doing is to be able to kind of use their organizational behavioral acumen, which they've learned either in B schools or practice during in the course of their academic and corporate careers, to kind of use some of those tools and techniques to kind of bring and engage people, be it areas around way of working, be areas of flexible working, be it areas of resilience, be it area of leadership, be it areas of how is it that you are coaching people. Now, look, these are big terms, but what does it mean on the ground? And that's where we are creating value. I mean, what does a coaching mean in these times? And that's where I think HR is providing that direction, right? What does stuff around resilience mean? How do we engage people? What does that mean actually? It's a great term, but what does it mean actually? So that's the value that we are creating to businesses. We say, hey, this is a way to look at engagement in these terms, right? And I think that's the expertise that we are doing and coaching even the business leaders to kind of follow. Too early to say. Because it's just happened. It's just been 9 months, right? 9 to 10 months. So it's not yet hindered the growth of people who find it very challenging in some domains, because ironically we are in a generation, we are in a time where all the three generations are there at one point of time, right? At this point, so there is challenging times, and it is not around tech. It also hits them really morally. I'm not up to the mark. How am I shaping up in technology, which is becoming an important ingredient to success and communication or collaboration, so to speak. So yes, it is, you're right, this is a reality. But you know what, I will be honest with you, the organization leaders have been extremely empathetic. The organization leaders are willing to accept the fact that you need a little time to learn. So there is the way the leaders are being the leaders are understanding that there is a limitation on that capability for some people is very, very noteworthy. And we've not reached a stage where they're taking decisions on that, but there could be an internal doubt and anxiety around those people, saying, how will I show up? I mean, if I can't operate an advanced setting of a Zoom, so for that matter. Is the fact that I shifted from my legal career to management career, right? And I think, and nothing wrong about being legal. I've done a 5 years and then moved into management. I think one of the things that was an early decision, and I didn't know whether it'll work, but the fact that I moved into this space was, in retrospect, after 20 years, has given some element of salience to what I do in life, and I think that was a critical decision because it shaped a lot of my line of thinking of how to lead life. It's not about how to manage an office. It's about, a lot of HR that I do is fungible. It could be working in with my 13-month-old daughter, or for that matter, a 13-month-old new associate who joins us. So it's pretty agnostic, and I'm glad that decision was early in my career, because a lot of us really get into this career paradox in terms of what do I do next. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you're 70% sure, go for it. Don't wait for that 100%. There is an impact on mental health on virtual working. So that exists, all right. And that is purely because, as a reason of virtual work, there is this divide around personal life and unofficial life has blurred, right? And it so how has it affected mental health? It has affected significantly for some state of people. But whilst I say that statement, I want to also tell you that, increasingly I feel employees are getting to terms to this way of life. The advantage for us is that we've got a very strong neofrontal cortex in our brain, which has this high resilience of adapting to new situations. And if you look at neuroscience, it's one of those things that really make you adapt to situations and conditions. So, and I see a slow progress towards, it's not an immediate term. It's going to be a long haul. Therefore, I want to create my ecosystem. So they're doing something about it. That, to an extent, is bringing the negative mental health aspects relatively down. But I would be wrong if I tell you that there's nothing wrong. There is an impact on mental health. And the worst part is, sometimes it's very, very expressed. That means, you and me can share that with each other. Some people can't share it with each other. They keep it within, right? So that's something that, we need to watch out as to who is silent in that meeting. What's going on? Can I check with him or her maybe after a session to see if they're feeling okay? Are they up to it? So those are things that really, those softer aspects are getting higher focus. So the first thing that you should know, and this is with some of the work that I've done on EQ and EI interchangeably, is that the concept of emotional intelligence is available with everybody. And so I have an EQ, you have an EQ, all of us here talking has an EQ. Whether it's a EQ with an IQ, everybody has EQ. The level of EQ varies very much. So we've seen data where the EQ really varies in human beings, depending on the ecosystem or the systems that you generate. You might have preference. So are you more authentic when you're talking to somebody? Are you more expressive? Are you emotionally present? Those are the things that we check when we're looking at emotional intelligence, right? But I don't think so. Having a high EQ means you are adapting more than having a low EQ. I think an IQ person should have even a high EQ to be able to be adaptive. And therefore it's important that we get it, that emotional intelligence, high or low, is depending on today it can change in 2 hours. So it's that variable and volatile. Your second question was emotions. Emotions is different from emotional intelligence, right? Because emotion is something that all of us have. How you manage that emotion to channelize yourself better is what we call as emotional intelligence, right? So I think that's something that all of us do have emotions. All of us are emotionally intelligent. It's what degree that we are. But the fact that you're emotional doesn't mean that you have less emotional intelligence. In fact, you should have more emotional intelligence because you're more attuned to what's happening around you and know what's happening within you, right? So that's something that's really weird. And I'm glad you asked that question, because in these times it's important to dig deep and ask that question: what's happening with me at this point of time, right? Stop and pause that and say, what am I feeling? How am I feeling now? So ask those questions. You'll probably find a lot of sanity in these line of thinking. So that would be my response. I think one of the things that you should look at is start beginning to be conscious about some of the leadership capabilities and traits that one needs to have. And I utter the word conscious is because a lot of us assume that the moment you get into a leadership position, you fundamentally become a leader. That's not the case, right? So I think one of the things that you really, as individuals, need to think is, what are some of the styles that I like? What are some of the ways I communicate that resonates with the other? What type of communication I don't like? Do I like formal communication? Do I like informal communication? How am I coming across in my emails? Do I read that email before I send it out? Those are leadership traits that are really required, and those are things that's very, very individualistic, right? And those are not probably get very hard coded. So I would say, to be successful leaders, it's not like reaching the moon. You have to do those little things, and I think that is something that you need to do. Leadership is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So the moment you walk out of the company, from your institute, you don't become a leader. You first become a manager, and then slowly grow and mature as a leader. So keep that in mind in terms of the journey. Don't try to be a leader from day one. You're going to fail miserably.